Before we delve into these rules, let us first understand the nature of attachment itself. In the world of Caesar, we are taught from an early age that our happiness, our very sense of self, is dependent on others. We are conditioned to believe that our worth is measured by the affection and approval of those around us. This, my dear friends, is the great illusion that keeps us bound to a life of limitation and suffering. But I say unto you, true freedom lies not in clinging to others, but in recognizing the divinity within yourself. For you have God made manifest the very essence of creation expressing itself in human form. And in this realization lies the power to detach from all external sources of validation and love. Now, let us turn our attention to the first rule of emotional detachment. Recognize the I am within. This rule, my beloved listeners, is the foundation upon which all else is built. For until you truly understand and embody the I am presence within you, you will forever be at the mercy of external circumstances and relationships. The I am is not some distant, unknowable force. It is the very core of your being, the divine spark that animates your existence. It is the God within, the source of all creation, and the wellspring of infinite possibility. When you say I am, you are invoking the name of God. For did not the scriptures tell us I am that I am? This is the name by which the divine identified itself to Moses, and is the name by which you must identify yourself in every moment of your existence. To emotionally detach from someone, you must first attach yourself wholly and completely to the I am within. This is not a rejection of love or connection, but rather recognition that all love, all connection, all fulfillment comes from within. Imagine, if you will, a beautiful oak tree. Its branches reach towards the heavens, its leaves dance in the sunlight. But what gives this tree its strength, its very life? Is it not the roots hidden beneath the earth, drawing nourishment from the soil? So too must you be rooted in the I am, drawing your strength and sustenance not from the fleeting affections of others, but from the eternal wellspring of divinity within. Practice this, my dear friends. In every moment of your day, affirm the I am. Say to yourself, I am love, I am peace, I am fulfillment. Feel the power of these words resonating through every cell of your being. For in doing so, you are aligning yourself with the creative force of the universe. As you strengthen your connection to the I am, you will find that your need for emotional validation from others begins to diminish. Like a candle whose flame grows ever brighter, you will become a source of light unto yourself and others. But remember, this is not a practice of isolation or disconnection. Rather, it is the foundation for true, unconditional love. For when you are firmly rooted in the I am, you can extend love to others without expectation or attachment. You become a channel for divine love, allowing it to flow through you freely, unobstructed by fear or need. Now let us move on to the second rule of emotional detachment, leave in the end. This rule, my dear listeners, is the very essence of creation. For what you experience in your physical reality is but a shadow, a reflection of what you have already accepted as true in your imagination. To emotionally detach from someone, you must live in the end of complete emotional freedom and self-sufficiency. You must see yourself in your mind's eye as one who is whole, complete, and fulfilled, independent of any external relationship or circumstance. Close your eyes for a moment, if you will, and imagine yourself standing tall, radiating confidence and inner peace. See yourself moving through your day with grace and ease, unaffected by the opinions or actions of others. Feel the joy and content that comes from knowing that you are the source of your own happiness. This, my friends, is living in the end. It is not a denial of your current circumstances, but rather a recognition of the power of your imagination to shape your reality. For as you persist in this vision of emotional freedom, you will find that your outer world begins to conform to this inner truth. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. What you hold as true in your imagination must, by the very laws of creation, manifest in your experience. Therefore, if you continue to imagine yourself as emotionally dependent on another, you will continue to experience that dependency in your life. But if you dare to imagine yourself as emotionally free, as one who is complete unto themselves, then that is what you shall become. The person from whom you wish to detach will either fall away naturally from your life, or your relationship with them will transform into one of mutual respect and freedom. Practice this living in the end daily, before you sleep at night and as you wake in the morning. Spend a few moments in quiet contemplation, experiencing the feeling of being emotionally detached and self-sufficient. Feel the relief, the lightness, the joy that comes with this state of being. As you persist in this practice, you will find that your emotional reactions to the person begin to change. Where once there was attachment and need, there will be understanding and compassion. Where once there was fear of loss, there will be an unshakable knowing of your own completeness. Now let us explore the third rule of emotional detachment. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. This rule, my dear friends, is closely related to living in the end, but it goes a step further. It asks you not only to imagine the end state, but to fully assume it as your current reality. This is the art of what I call thinking from the end rather than thinking of the end. To emotionally detach from someone, you must assume the state of one who is already detached. This is not a matter of pretending or forcing yourself to feel a certain way. Rather, it is about stepping into a new state of consciousness, a new self-concept. Imagine, if you will, that you are an actor on a stage. Up until now, you have been playing the role of someone emotionally attached and dependent. But now you are given a new role, that of someone who is emotionally free and self-sufficient. Your task is to fully embody this new character, to think, feel, and act as they would. How would this emotionally detached version of yourself move through the world? How would they speak? How would they react to situations? How would they feel about themselves and others? Assume these qualities fully, not as something to be achieved in the future, but as your present reality. This assumption of the wish fulfilled is not about denial or suppression of your current feelings. It is about shifting your focus and your energy to a new state of being. It is about choosing moment by moment to align yourself with the version of you that is already emotionally detached. As you assume this state, you may find that your thoughts and feelings towards the person begin to shift naturally. Where once there was a constant preoccupation with their actions and reactions, there is now a calming difference. Where once there was a need for their approval or affection, there is now a deep sense of self-approval and self-love. Remember, my dear listeners, that your assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. Therefore, guard your assumptions carefully. Do not allow yourself to slip back into the old state of attachment. If you find your thoughts drifting towards dependency or need, gently but firmly bring them back to the state of the wish fulfilled. This practice may feel challenging at first, especially if you have been in a state of emotional attachment for a long time. But I assure you, with persistence and faith, it will become more natural. For you are not creating a new reality, but simply aligning yourself with the truth of your being, a being that is whole, complete, and free. As you continue to assume the state of emotional detachment, you will find that your interactions with the person begin to change. You may notice that you no longer react to their words or actions with the same intensity. You may find that you can engage with them from a place of calm neutrality, free from the need to control or change them. This, my friends, is the power of assumption. It is the key to not only emotional detachment, but to all creation. For as you assume, so shall it be done unto you. Now, let us turn our attention to the fourth rule of emotional detachment. Release all resistance. This rule, my beloved listeners, may seem paradoxical at first. For in your desire to detach, you may find yourself resisting the very feelings and thoughts you wish to release. But I say unto you, what you resist persists. The key to true detachment lies not in fighting against your attachment, but in releasing all resistance to what is. Consider, if you will, the nature of a river. It flows effortlessly towards the sea, not by pushing against the rocks in its path, but by flowing around them. So, too much you learn to flow around the obstacles of attachment rather than struggling against them. Resistance often manifests as judgment, judgment of yourself for feeling attached, judgment of the other person for their actions, judgment of the situation itself. But judgment, my dear friends, is the antithesis of detachment. It keeps you bound to the very thing you wish to release. Instead, practice acceptance. Accept your feelings of attachment without condemnation. Accept the other person exactly as they are, without trying to change them. Accept the situation as it is, without wishing it were different. This acceptance is not resignation or passivity. It is not about liking or approving of everything. Rather, it is about acknowledging what is without adding the extra layer of emotional resistance. It is about saying yes to the present moment, even as you work towards creating a different future. As you release resistance, you may find that many of the painful emotions associated with attachment begin to dissolve naturally. For it is not the attachment itself that causes suffering, but your resistance to it. When you cease to fight against what is, you open yourself to the flow of life, allowing transformation to occur effortlessly. Practice this release of resistance in every moment. When you notice yourself tensing up emotionally, whether in thought of the person or in their presence, consciously relax. Let go of the need to control the situation or the other person's behavior. Allow yourself to simply be, without judgment or expectation. This practice of non-resistance extends to your thoughts as well. When thoughts of attachment arise, do not try to push them away or replace them with positive thoughts. Instead, observe them with detached awareness. Watch them arise and pass away like clouds in the sky without getting caught up in their story. As you cultivate this attitude of non-resistance, you will find that your emotional energy begins to shift. The intensity of your attachment will begin to dissolve not through force or with power, but through the gentle power of acceptance and allowing. Remember, my dear friends, that emotional detachment is not about becoming cold or unfeeling. It is about freeing yourself from the compulsive need for external validation and control. It is about creating space for true love to flourish, love that is given freely without expectation or attachment. Now let us explore the fifth and final rule of emotional detachment: cultivate inner stillness. This rule, my beloved listeners, is the culmination of all that we have discussed, for it is in the depths of inner stillness that true detachment is realized, not as a concept or a practice, but as your very nature. Inner stillness is not the absence of thought or emotion. It is the presence of awareness, pure, unbounded, and eternally free. It is the discovery of your true self beyond all attachments and identifications. To cultivate inner stillness, you must learn to step back from the constant chatter of your mind. You must create space between your thoughts, between your breaths, between your heartbeats. In this space lies the key to emotional freedom. Begin by setting aside time each day for quiet contemplation. Find a comfortable place where you will not be disturbed. Close your eyes and turn your attention inward. Focus on your breath, feeling the gentle rise and fall of your chest. As thoughts arise, and they will, for that is the nature of the mind, simply observe them without judgment. Do not try to stop your thoughts or change them. Instead, watch them come and go like waves on the ocean of your consciousness. As you continue this practice, you may begin to notice moments of profound stillness, moments when the chatter of your mind subsides, and you are left with a deep sense of peace and presence. These moments, however brief, are glimpses of your true nature, the unchanging awareness that underlies all experience. From this place of inner stillness, emotional detachment arises naturally, for in the depths of your being you recognize that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your attachments. You are the awareness in which all these arise and pass away. As you cultivate this inner stillness, you will find that your emotional reactions begin to lose their grip. The person from whom you wish to detach no longer has the power to disturb your peace. Their words and actions may still create ripples on the surface of your mind, but they cannot touch the depths of your being. This inner stillness becomes your refuge, a place of peace and clarity to which you can return at any moment. When you feel yourself becoming entangled in attachment or emotional reactivity, simply take a deep breath and reconnect with this still center within you. From this place of stillness, you can engage with the world and with the person from whom you're detaching with grace and equanimity. You can love without attachment, care without dependency, and relate without losing yourself. Remember, my dear friends, that this inner stillness is not something you need to create or achieve. It is already present within you, waiting to be recognized. Your task is simply to remove the obstacles, the mental and emotional noise that obscure its presence. As you practice these 5 rules, recognizing the I am within, living in the end, assuming the state of the wish fulfilled, releasing all resistance, and cultivating inner stillness, you will find that emotional detachment becomes not just a goal to be achieved, but a natural expression of your true self. Now, my beloved listeners, I want you to understand that this journey of emotional detachment is not a linear process. It is not something that happens overnight or in a steady, predictable progression. Rather, it is a dance, a beautiful, sometimes challenging dance between your habitual patterns of attachment and your growing awareness of your true, detached nature. There will be moments of profound clarity and freedom where you feel completely detached and at peace. Cherish these moments, for they are glimpses of your true potential. But do not become attached to them, for attachment to detachment is still attachment. There will also be moments when you feel as though you've slipped back into old patterns of emotional dependency. Do not judge yourself for these moments. They are not failures, but opportunities for deeper understanding and growth. Each time you notice yourself becoming entangled in attachment, it is an invitation to practice these principles anew. Remember, emotional detachment is not about suppressing your feelings or becoming indifferent to others. It is about freeing yourself from the compulsive need for external validation and control. It is about creating space for true love to flourish. Love that is given freely, without expectation or attachment. As you continue on this journey, you may find that your relationship with the person from whom you're detaching begins to transform. Without the weight of your emotional expectations and needs, they may feel freer to be themselves. You may discover a new kind of relationship emerging, one based on mutual respect and genuine care rather than dependency and fear. Or you may find that as you detach emotionally, the relationship naturally falls away. For relationships built solely on attachment and need cannot survive in the light of true emotional freedom. Trust in this process, for it is the natural unfolding of your alignment with your true self. Throughout this journey, be gentle with yourself. Emotional detachment is not about forcing yourself to feel or not feel certain things. It is about allowing yourself to be exactly as you are in each moment, while holding the vision of your emotionally free self. Practice self-compassion as you navigate this path. When you notice yourself slipping into old patterns of attachment, rather than berating yourself, offer yourself the same kindness and understanding you would offer a dear friend. Speak to yourself with words of encouragement and love. Remember also to celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. Each moment of awareness, each choice to align with your detached self is a victory. Acknowledge these moments, for they are the building blocks of your transformation. As you move through your days practicing these 5 rules of emotional detachment, you may begin to notice changes, not just in your relationship with the specific person you're detaching from, but in all your relationships and interactions. You may find yourself becoming less reactive in general, less easily swayed by the opinions and actions of others. You may discover a new sense of inner peace and stability that remains constant regardless of external circumstances. This, my dear friends, is the true gift of emotional detachment. It is not just about freeing yourself from one specific attachment, but about realizing your inherent freedom in all situations. As you continue to practice, you may find that the very concept of detachment begins to shift. What once seemed like a goal to be achieved becomes simply your natural state of being. You realize that you were never truly attached in the first place. That attachment was merely a story you were telling yourself. In this realization lies true freedom. For when you know yourself as the unchanging awareness beneath all thoughts and emotions, what is there to attach to or detach from? You are already complete, already whole, already free. From this place of inner freedom, you can engage fully with life without becoming entangled. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can care profoundly without being controlled by your caring. This, my beloved listeners, is the promise of emotional detachment. It is not a dry intellectual concept, but a living reality that you can embody in every moment of your existence. As we near the end of our exploration, I want to remind you that the power to emotionally detach lies entirely within you. It is not dependent on the actions or reactions of others. It does not require the cooperation or understanding of the person from whom you're detaching. It is a choice that you make moment by moment to align with your true free nature. In every interaction, in every thought of the person, you have the opportunity to practice these principles. Each moment is a new beginning, a fresh chance to choose detachment over attachment, freedom over dependency. Remember, the world around you is a reflection of your inner state. As you cultivate emotional detachment within yourself, you will find that your outer world begins to mirror this inner freedom. Relationships that were once sources of pain and struggle may transform into sources of joy and mutual growth, or they may fall away entirely, making space for new, more aligned connections to enter your life. Trust in this process, my dear friends. Trust in the wisdom of your own being. For as you align yourself with the truth of who you are, a divine, infinite being, complete unto yourself, all things must rearrange themselves to match this inner knowing. And so as we come to the close of this discourse, I invite you to take a moment to reflect on what you've heard. Feel the truth of these words resonating within you. Know that the power to emotionally detach, to free yourself from all limiting attachments, is already within you, waiting to be recognized and expressed. Go forth from this place with a renewed commitment to your emotional freedom. Practice these 5 rules diligently. Recognize the I am within. Live in the end. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Release all resistance and cultivate inner stillness. But above all, remember that you are already that which you seek to become. You are already detached, already free, already complete. Your task is simply to remove the veils of illusion that obscure this truth. In every moment, you have a choice. You can choose to identify with your attachments and dependencies, or you can choose to align with your true, free nature. Make this choice consciously, make it with love, and make it again and again until it becomes your natural state of being. And know, my beloved friends, that as you walk this path of emotional detachment, you are not alone. The entire universe conspires to support you in your journey towards freedom. For in freeing yourself, you contribute to the freedom of all beings. May you go forth in peace, in love, and in the unshakable knowing of your own divine completeness. May you find the strength to detach from all that no longer serves you, and the courage to embrace the fullness of your true, liberated self. Remember, you are the creator of your reality. You are the author of your story. Write a story of freedom, of joy, of unconditional love. For that is your birthright, and it is within your power to claim it. Go now and be the embodiment of emotional freedom. Be the living proof that true love needs no attachment, that true strength comes from within, that true peace is your very nature. And as you do, know that you are fulfilling your highest purpose. For in freeing yourself, you light the way for others. In detaching from your own limitations, you help to liberate the world. This, my dear friends, is the ultimate gift of emotional detachment. It is not just a personal practice, but a service to all of humanity. For as you free yourself, you create a ripple effect that touches all those around you, inviting them to recognize their own inherent freedom. So go forth with courage, with faith, and with the unwavering conviction that emotional detachment is not just possible, but inevitable. For it is the truth of your being waiting to be realized. May you be blessed on your journey. May you find the strength to persist in these practices. And may you come to know, beyond all doubt, the joy and peace that comes from true emotional freedom. Let us begin this journey of self-discovery and empowerment, for in these principles lies the key to your freedom, your peace, and your ultimate power. Principle 1, the power of consciousness. The first and most fundamental principle we must grasp is that consciousness is the only reality. Everything you perceive, everything you experience, every circumstance in your life is but an outpicturing of your consciousness. The world you see is a mirror reflecting back to you your own mental states, your own assumptions about reality. Many of you may find this concept challenging to accept at first. You may argue, but never will I see a solid world around me. I feel it, I interact with it. Surely this is reality. To this I say, what you perceive as solid and real is nothing more than a shadow cast by the light of your consciousness. Consider for a moment your dreams. When you're in a dream, does it not feel real? Do you not interact with people, touch objects, experience emotions? Yet when you awaken, you realize it was all a creation of your mind. I tell you now, what you call your waking life is no different. It is a dream, a grand collective dream, but a dream nonetheless. Once you truly grasp this principle, once you internalize it and live from it, you will understand that nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. For you are not a powerless observer of reality, but the very creator of it. This understanding is the foundation upon which all else is built. It is the bedrock of your invincibility, the source of your power. For if consciousness is the only reality, and you are the master of your consciousness, then you are the master of your reality. But how do we wield this power? How do we shape our consciousness to create the reality we desire? This leads us seamlessly into our second principle. Principle 2, the law of assumption. The law of assumption states that if you assume a state to be true and persist in that assumption, it must harden into fact. This law is the cornerstone of creation, the very mechanism by which you shape your reality. When you assume a state, you are essentially declaring to the universe, this is who I am. This is what is true for me. And the universe, being nothing more than an outpicturing of your consciousness, has no choice but to conform to your assumption. But remember, my dear friends, this law works both ways. If you persistently assume limitation, lack, or fear, these two will harden into fact. This is why so many people find themselves trapped in cycles of negativity and misfortune. They are unwittingly assuming these states into existence. The key then is to consciously choose your assumptions. Assume states of abundance, of joy, of success, of love. Persist in these assumptions, regardless of any seeming contradictions in your external reality. For remember, the external is but a shadow of your past assumptions. As you change your assumptions, the shadow must change to match the new shape of your consciousness. This principle of assumption is your shield against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. For how can external circumstances affect you when you know that you are the very author of those circumstances? But assumption alone is not enough. To truly harness the power of this principle, we must understand the role of feeling, which brings us to our third principle. Principle 3, the importance of feeling. Now, as we delve deeper into these principles, we come to a crucial understanding. It is not enough to merely think about your desired state. You must feel it. You must embody it with every fiber of your being. Feeling is the secret, my dear listeners. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, between your current reality and your desired reality. When you can genuinely feel the reality of your desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you activate a power beyond your wildest imagination. Think for a moment of a time when you were deeply in love. Recall the feeling, the emotion of it. How did it color your world? How did it affect your perceptions, your actions, your very being? This is the power of feeling. It transforms you from the inside out. In the same way, when you can feel the reality of desire, when you can live in the emotion of your wish fulfilled, you transform your entire being. You begin to think, act, and perceive in alignment with your desired reality. And as you do so, the external world has no choice but to reflect this new state back to you. This principle of feeling is your armor against the assaults of doubt and fear. For when you are filled with the feeling of your desire fulfilled, how can doubt find a foothold? How can fear take root? They simply cannot penetrate the radiant energy of your assumed state. But how do we generate these feelings? How do we create such vivid, transformative emotions? This brings us to our fourth principle, a principle that unlocks the full creative power of your mind. Principle 4, the power of imagination. As we progress in our understanding, we come to the fourth principle, the power of imagination. My dear friends, your imagination is not some idle fantasy factory. It is the very workshop of creation. It is the place where all things, all experiences, all states of being are first conceived before they are brought forth into physical reality. Einstein once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." For knowledge is limited to all we now know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, and all there ever will be to know and understand. Your imagination is the gateway to infinite possibilities. It is the realm where you can try on new states of being, where you can explore new realities, where you can shape your world according to your deepest desires. When you imagine, you are not merely daydreaming. You are engaging in the most profound act of creation. For remember, consciousness is the only reality. and your imagination is the tool by which you shape your consciousness. Imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself living the life you desire. Feel the emotions associated with your wish fulfilled. Do this vividly, do this often, and do this with a firm conviction that what you are imagining is not some far-off possibility, but a present reality. This principle of imagination is your sword against the limitations of your current circumstances. For how can your current reality constrain you when you can, at any moment, step into a new reality in your imagination? But what of the past? What are the memories and experiences that seem to contradict our desired state? This brings us to our fifth principle, a principle that grants you power over time itself. Principle 5, the art of revision. Now we come to a principle that many find particularly powerful, the art of revision. This principle teaches us that we can go back into our past and change it. Not in a physical sense, of course, but in our consciousness, which, as we've established, is the only reality. You might ask, but Wayne, how can we change the past? Isn't it fixed to this? I say the past only exists in your memory, and memory is not fixed. It is fluid, constantly being written by your present state of consciousness. When you revise a past event, you are not denying that it happened. Rather, you are choosing to remember it differently. You are rewriting the story in a way that serves your present and future. For example, if you had an argument with a loved one, instead of replaying the argument over and over in your mind, reinforcing the negative emotions associated with it, you can revise it. Imagine the conversation going differently. See yourself and the other person coming to a loving understanding. Feel the warmth and connection between you. As you do this, you are not merely engaging in wishful thinking. You are actually reshaping your consciousness. And as your consciousness changes, your present reality must change to reflect it. This principle of revision is your time machine. It allows you to go back and plant seeds of positivity in your past, seeds that will bear fruit in your present and future. How can past events affect you when you have the power to revise them at will? But as we reshape our past and imagine our future, we must be careful not to fall into the trap of attachment. This brings us to our sixth principle, a principle that teaches us the power of letting go. Principle 6, the law of detachment. As we delve deeper into these principles, we come to one that many find challenging, the law of detachment. This law states that to manifest your desires, you must release your attachment to them. This may seem counterintuitive. You might think, but Wayne, if I want something badly, shouldn't I focus on it intensely? The answer paradoxically is no, for intense focus often comes from a place of lack, a place of not having, and remember what you assume you create. Instead, cultivate a state of detachment. This doesn't mean you don't care about your desires. Rather, it means you trust so completely in the law of assumption, in the power of your consciousness, that you can relax into the knowing that your desire is already yours. Think of it this way. When you order a meal at a restaurant, do you sit there fretting about whether it will come? Do you constantly ask the waiter where your food is? No, you relax. You engage in conversation. You enjoy the ambience. You know your meal is being prepared and will arrive at the perfect time. In the same way, once you have placed your order with the universe through your assumption and feeling, relax. Trust in the process. Know that what you have assumed must come to pass in its own perfect timing. This principle of detachment is your shield against anxiety and impatience. For how can you be anxious about the future when you know with absolute certainty that your desire is already yours? But detachment does not mean inaction. It does not mean we sit back and wait for our desires to manifest. This brings us to our seventh principle, a principle that teaches us the power of consistent action. Principle 7, the power of persistence. Now, my dear listeners, we come to a principle that is crucial for your success, the power of persistence. This principle teaches us that we must persist in our assumption, regardless of any seeming contradictions in our external reality. Remember the story of Joshua and the walls of Jericho. For 6 days, Joshua and his army marched around the city, blowing their trumpets with no visible result. But on the 7th day, when they gave a mighty shout, the walls came tumbling down. This story beautifully illustrates the principle of persistence. Joshua and his men didn't give up when they saw no immediate results. They persisted in their assumption, in their faith, until their desire manifested. In the same way, you must persist in your assumption of your desired state. Even when your sense is denied, even when the world seems to contradict it, you must hold fast to your assumption. For remember, what you see in the external world is always the result of past assumptions. It tells you where you've been, not where you're going. Persistence doesn't mean struggle or strain. It simply means a calm, unwavering faith in the reality of your assumption. It means choosing again and again to live from the state of your wish fulfilled, regardless of any seeming evidence to the contrary. This principle of persistence is your steadfast companion on the journey of manifestation. For how can temporary setbacks discourage you when you know that your persistent assumption must eventually bear fruit? But persistence must be balanced with rest. It must be coupled with a deep sense of peace and completion. This brings us to our 8th principle, a principle that teaches us the power of divine rest. Principle 8, the Sabbath. As we continue our exploration, we come to a principle that is often overlooked, but is of utmost importance, the principle of the Sabbath. In this context, the Sabbath is not a specific day of the week, but rather a state of mind, a state of rest and completion. After you have assumed your desire, after you have felt it real, after you have persisted in your assumption, there comes a point where you must rest. This rest is not an action, but rather a deep, abiding peace that comes from knowing your desire is already yours. In the biblical account of creation, God rested on the 7th day not because he was tired, but because the work was complete. In the same way, you must come to a point where you can rest in the absolute, knowing that your desire is manifested. This state of Sabbath is characterized by a profound sense of gratitude. You are grateful not for what you will receive, but for what you have already received. For in consciousness, in the only reality that truly matters, your desire is already yours. Entering this Sabbath state is crucial for manifestation. It is the final seal on your assumption, the period at the end of your adoration to the universe. It is the state from which miracles naturally flow. This principle of the Sabbath is your oasis of peace in the journey of creation. For how can you be disturbed by external circumstances when you rest in the deep knowing that all is well, all is complete? But as we rest in this state of completion, we must also understand the dynamic nature of creation. We must grasp the reciprocal relationship between our inner and outer worlds. This brings us to our 9th principle, a principle that reveals the true nature of cause and effect. Principle 9, the law of reversibility. Now, my dear friends, we come to a principle that may challenge your current understanding of cause and effect, the law of reversibility. This law states that while a physical fact can be the cause of an imagination, it is equally true that imagination can be the cause of a physical fact. In other words, while it's true that external circumstances can affect your mental state, it's equally true that your mental state can affect external circumstances. And since you have direct control over your mental state, you have indirect but very real control over your circumstances. For example, it's commonly believed that wealth brings a feeling of abundance, and this can certainly be true. But it's equally true that cultivating a feeling of abundance can bring wealth. The same is true for any state or circumstance you desire. This principle of reversibility puts the power back in your hands. Instead of waiting for circumstances to change so that you can feel better, you can feel better now, knowing that this feeling will inevitably lead to improved circumstances. Remember, the external world is but a shadow of your consciousness. Change your consciousness and the shadow must change. This is not wishful thinking or self-deception. This is working with the fundamental laws of creation. This principle of reversibility is your key to freedom from external conditions. For how can circumstances control you when you know that you can reverse the flow, creating circumstances from your chosen mental state? But to truly harness the power of all these principles, to become truly invincible to external influences, we must understand one final, all-encompassing principle. This brings us to our 10th and most profound principle, the principle that underpins all of creation, Principle 10, the I Am. And now, my dear listeners, we come to the 10th and most profound principle, the I Am. This principle is the foundation upon which all the others rest. It is the ultimate truth of your being. I Am is the name of God, and it is your name too, for you are not separate from God, but an individualized expression of the divine. When you say I am, you are invoking the creative power of the universe. Whatever follows I am in your consciousness becomes your reality. If you say I am weak, you invoke and embody weakness. If you say I am strong, you invoke and embody strength. This is not mere positive thinking. This is aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, understanding this principle. You realize that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances or internal states. You are the chooser of your state. At any moment, you can declare I am and follow it with whatever state you wish to embody. This principle of I am is the ultimate shield against all that would affect you, for how can anything disturb you when you know that you are one with the creative power of the universe? My dear friends, as we conclude our exploration of these 10 principles, I want you to realize the immense power that lies within you. These principles are not mere theories or philosophical concepts. They are practical tools for living, keys to unlocking the infinite potential that resides within you. When you truly grasp these principles, when you live from them consistently, you become unshakable. Nothing can affect you because you know that you are the affecting power in your world. You are not a victim of circumstances, but the creator of them. Imagine for a moment your life would be like if you fully embodied these principles. Imagine moving through your days with the unshakable, knowing that you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul. Imagine facing challenges not with fear or anxiety, but with the calm certainty that you have the power to overcome them, to transform them, to use them for your growth and evolution. This is not a fantasy, my friends. This is your birthright. This is the truth of who you are. But remember, knowing these principles intellectually is not enough. You must apply them. You must become them. Start now. Choose a state you wish to embody. Perhaps it's confidence or abundance or love. Assume that state. Feel it. Live from it. Persist in it. Revise your path to align with it. Detach from the outcome, knowing it's already yours. Enter the Sabbath grateful completion. Understand that your assumption of this state is creating your reality and declare with all the power of your being, I am followed by your chosen state. As you do this, you will begin to see changes in your world. At first, they may be small. A shift in how people respond to you, a fortunate coincidence, an unexpected opportunity. But as you persist, as you deepen your understanding and application of these principles, the changes will become more profound. Your entire life will begin to reshape itself to match your new state of consciousness. And through it all, you will remain unaffected by the storms of life. For you will know with unshakable certainty that you are the weather maker. You are the creator of your reality. My dear friends, this is the promise of these 10 principles. This is the power that lies within you. Embrace it, live it, become it, and watch as your world transforms before your very eyes. But let us delve even deeper into the practical application of these principles, for it is in their consistent application that true mastery is achieved. Consider your daily life. From the moment you wake up to the moment you fall asleep, you are constantly declaring your state of being. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction is a declaration of who you are. Are you declaring states of limitation and fear or states of abundance and power? Begin to consciously choose your declarations. When you wake up in the morning, instead of immediately thinking about the challenges of the day ahead, declare, I am blessed. I am abundant. I am powerful. Feel the truth of these statements. Let them permeate your being. As you go about your day, be vigilant of your mental states. When you encounter a challenging situation, instead of reacting with anxiety or frustration, pause. Remember, this situation is but an outpicturing of your past assumptions. Then, consciously choose a new assumption. Declare, I am capable of handling this with ease and grace. Practice the art of revision throughout your day. If you have an unpleasant interaction with someone, don't let it linger in your consciousness. As soon as possible, close your eyes and revise the scene. See it playing out harmoniously. Feel the emotions of a pleasant, fulfilling interaction. This is not denial, this is conscious creation. Use your imagination constantly. Before important events or meetings, take a few moments to imagine them unfolding perfectly. See yourself speaking with confidence, being received warmly, achieving your desired outcomes. Feel the satisfaction and joy of these successful scenarios. Cultivate the state of the Sabbath. At the end of each day, before you sleep, enter a state of deep gratitude and completion. regardless of what transpired during the day. Choose to rest in the knowing that all is well. All is unfolding perfectly for your highest good. Practice detachment by focusing on the joy of the journey, rather than attainment of specific outcomes. Find pleasure in the process of growth and transformation. Trust that as you align yourself with these principles, your external reality must conform to your new state of consciousness. Remember the law of reversibility. If you find yourself in undesirable circumstances, instead of waiting for them to change so you can feel better, choose to feel better now. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, knowing that this feeling will inevitably bring about the circumstances you desire. And above all, be constant in your awareness of the I am. Let every thought, every word, every action be a conscious expression of your divine nature. For in this constant awareness lies true invincibility. My dear friends, as you integrate these principles into your daily life, you will find yourself becoming more and more impervious to external influences. You will no longer be swayed by the opinions of others, by temporary setbacks, or by apparent obstacles. For you will know with every fiber of your being that you are the creator of your reality. But this journey of mastery is not just for your own benefit. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you become a beacon of light in the world. You inspire others by your example. You show them what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. For remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you transform your own consciousness, you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Every assumption of a higher state, every act of revision, every moment of Sabbath rest ripples out into the collective consciousness, elevating all of humanity. This is the true power of these principles. They not only free you from the influence of external circumstances, but they also empower you to become a force for positive change in the world. Imagine a world where more and more people understand and apply these principles. Imagine a collective consciousness rooted in abundance, love, and endless possibility. This is the world you are helping to create as you master these principles in your own life. So I urge you, my dear friends, to take these principles to heart. Study them, apply them. Or in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Go forth now armed with this knowledge, empowered by this understanding. Be the conscious creator you were born to be. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Remember, the world is yourself pushed out. As you embody these principles, as you live from this elevated state of consciousness, you uplift all of humanity. You become a beacon of light showing others what is possible when we fully embrace our divine nature. In closing, I want to remind you of a profound truth. You are not merely a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. And armed with these 10 principles, you can make that human experience as glorious, as joyful, as abundant as you choose. Be bold in your assumptions. Be daring in your imagination. Be unwavering in your persistence. For you are the operant power in your world. You are the author of your life story. Nothing can affect you unless you allow it to affect your consciousness. Go now and create the life you've always dreamed of. For you are the architects of your own destiny, the creators of your own reality. Nothing can affect you when you live from these principles. For you are one with the creative power of the universe. And as you go forth, remember that this journey of mastery is ongoing. Each day presents new opportunities to deepen your understanding, to refine your application of these principles. Embrace these opportunities. Welcome the challenges that arise, for they are but invitations to prove the power of your consciousness. Let every experience, whether perceived as positive or negative, be a testament to your creative power. For in truth, there are no positive or negative experiences. There are only opportunities for growth, for deepening your understanding, for strengthening your faith in the power of your consciousness. As you continue on this path, you will find that your life becomes a living demonstration of these principles. You will become living proof of the transformative power of consciousness. And in doing so, you will inspire countless others to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and empowerment. My dear friends, the power to create the life you desire, the power to remain unaffected by external circumstances, lies within you. It always has, and it always will. These 10 principles are simply keys to unlocking that power, to bringing it into your conscious awareness so that you may wield it deliberately and effectively. So go forth with confidence, with joy, with the unshakable knowing that you are the master of your faith, the captain of your soul. Let nothing disturb your peace. Let nothing shake your faith. For you are one with the creative power of the universe, and in that oneness lies your invincibility. Thank you. And may your imagination be filled with wonders beyond measure. May your consciousness expand to embrace the infinite possibilities that lie before you. And may you always remember the truth of who you are, the operant power, the divine creator of the I Am.
Have you ever wondered why your journey has been so turbulent? Why the winds seem to always blow against you and the storms never seem to cease? You've prayed, cried out, and even questioned your path. Yet in the silence of those moments, there was always a whisper, a divine assurance that the trials were not for your destruction, but for your elevation. I am here to tell you something extraordinary. What you've endured wasn't wasted. Those sleepless nights, those battles that no one saw, were shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for something that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Stay with me, because what's about to unfold in your life will be nothing short of divine revelation and supernatural provision. When God sets his eyes on someone for greatness, the process isn't always easy to comprehend. There is a divine law in the kingdom that preparation must precede promotion. God never releases his treasures into unprepared hands because he values his gifts too much to entrust them to those who cannot steward them. What you thought were setbacks were actually setups for what's coming next in your life. The fiery trials, the disappointments, and the seasons of lack were all tools in the hands of the master potter to shape you for the glory that is about to be revealed. Think about Joseph. He had a dream of greatness, a vision that seemed impossible. Yet before the palace there was the pit, before the position there was the prison. It wasn't because God forgot him, it was because God was preparing him. You too have faced seasons that seemed unbearable. Maybe you've questioned your worth. Maybe you've even wondered if God still has a plan for you, but I assure you every tear you cried was counted. Every pain you endured was purposed. Your trials were never meant to destroy you. They were designed to build resilience, faith, and character. In the kingdom of God, wealth is not just about money. It's about influence, purpose, and responsibility. What God is about to release in your life isn't just for you. It's for his glory and the advancement of his kingdom. The blessings he is preparing to pour out are tied to your willingness to walk in alignment with his will. He doesn't bless randomly. He blesses strategically. He has chosen you because he sees in you the heart of a steward, someone who will not hoard but will honor him with what they receive. But let me remind you of this truth. The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. This isn't just a promise, it's a principle. God has been orchestrating a divine transfer. What was held back from you, what seemed unreachable, is being positioned for your hands. Yet this isn't a time to relax, it's a time to remain vigilant. The enemy knows what's coming your way, and he'll do everything to distract you from the path of obedience. But if you stay rooted in his word, if you refuse to waver, nothing can stop what God has already ordained. You survived the pruning season, and now the harvest is here. But let's not forget, harvest requires work. The blessings of God are not passive. They require action, discipline, and alignment. He's not just looking to give you wealth. He's looking to trust you with it. Your trials were the training ground for this moment. The seasons of lack taught you gratitude. The nights of prayer built your spiritual muscles. Now, as you step into this season of abundance, remember that the same God who brought you here must remain at the center of it all. As I speak to you today, I sense a shift in the spirit. The heavens are open, and God is releasing what was once withheld. The seeds you've sown in tears will now bring forth a harvest of joy. The prayers you've prayed in private will manifest publicly. But this isn't the end. This is the beginning of a new chapter. A chapter where your testimony will become the evidence of God's faithfulness to others. You are about to walk in the overflow, not because of your merit, but because of His mercy. When God blesses, He does so in a way that leaves no room for doubt. He ensures that no man can take credit for what He's done. Your story will be one of those undeniable miracles. People will look at you and see the fingerprints of God all over your life. They'll wonder how it happened, and the only explanation will be the favor of the Almighty. But remember, favor isn't fair. It's not about what you deserve, it's about what God has chosen to bestow. Even as you step into this season of abundance, keep your eyes fixed on the giver, not just the gift. Wealth without purpose is empty. Success without significance is fleeting. God's intention is not just to make you wealthy, but to make you impactful. He wants you to be a beacon of His glory, a testament to His goodness. This is why the trials were necessary. They refined you, humbled you, and prepared you to handle what's coming next. God's timing is impeccable. He doesn't operate on our schedules, but when His moment arrives, it is perfect. Every delay you experience was not a denial, but a detour meant to strengthen you for the destination. Now that the season has shifted, walk boldly in the confidence that He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let the opinions of others cause you to doubt. If God has spoken it, it will come to pass. All He requires is your faith and obedience. As you step into this new season, take a moment to reflect on the journey. Remember the lessons, cherish the growth, and honor the process. What God is doing in your life isn't just about you, it's about His kingdom. This is your moment to shine, not for your glory, but for His. The trials are over, the time is now, and the blessings are here. Stay faithful, stay grounded, and watch as God does exceedingly, abundantly, above all you could ask or imagine. Let me continue. You are entering a season where every closed door will be opened, not by your strength, but by the divine authority of the one who goes before you. The trials you endured, not random, they were orchestrated with purpose. God allowed certain things to break in your life so He could build you back stronger. He permitted people to walk away from you because they could not handle the magnitude of where He was taking you. Everything that seemed like a loss was, in fact, a pruning process to prepare you for the abundance that is now at hand. But do not forget this is a covenant moment. God's promises are always tied to His principles. The wealth, influence, and blessings He is about to release into your life are not just for your personal enjoyment, they are tools for kingdom work. God blesses you so that you can become a blessing. He provides so you can provide. He pours into your life so that you can pour into others. This is why the trials were so intense, because the magnitude of the calling required a deeper level of refinement. Think about David. He was anointed as king long before he ever wore the crown. In the time between his anointing and his appointment, he faced rejection, betrayal, and countless battles. Yet each challenge was a stepping stone to his destiny. In the same way your trials were training you for this moment, God was building in you the heart of a warrior, the mind of a steward, and the faith of a conqueror. What you thought was breaking you was actually making you. You see, the trials were a test of your heart. God was watching how you handled the little before He entrusted you with the much. When you had only enough to get by, did you still give? When the door seemed locked, did you still knock? When the prayers went unanswered, did you still believe? These moments were not about what you had, they were about who you were becoming. And now that you have passed the test, heaven is opening over your life. This is the moment where faith meets fulfillment. The years of sowing and tears will now yield a harvest of joy. But remember, the harvest comes with responsibility. God is not just giving you resources, He is entrusting you with influence. He is positioning you as a light in a world filled with darkness. Your wealth will not just be measured in numbers, but in the lives you impact, the souls you reach, and the legacy you leave. The enemy will try to convince you that you are not ready, that you are not worthy, that you do not deserve this blessing. But let me remind you of the truth. It is not about your worthiness. It is about God's faithfulness. He chose you not because of what you could do, but because of what He can do through you. Do not allow fear or doubt to rob you of what is already yours. Step boldly into this season, knowing that the one who called you is faithful to equip you. Even now, as you prepare to walk in this new season, guard your heart and mind. The distractions will come, the temptations will arise, and the voices of doubt will whisper. But keep your focus on Him. Seek His wisdom in every decision. Trust His guidance in every step. Remember, the same God who brought you through the trials is the same God who will sustain you in the triumph. You are about to witness the manifestation of promised days you have carried in your spirit for years. The prayers you whispered in the midnight hour, the dreams you dared to dream, and the visions you held on to despite the odds, they are all coming to pass. But this is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one where you walk in purpose, power, and divine provision. God's plans are always layered, intricate, and purposeful. Every delay, every closed door, and every setback was part of a divine strategy. It's not just about the blessings you are about to walk into, but the person you become through the journey. You are no longer the same as you were when the trials began. God has been shaping your character, refining your heart, and molding your perspective to align with His kingdom principles. He allowed you to face impossibilities so you would learn to rely on Him entirely, not on your own strength or understanding. The world measures success by achievement and possessions, but God's kingdom operates on an entirely different system. In the kingdom, wealth is not merely about accumulation, but about purpose. The trials you endured have given you a heart of compassion, a deeper faith, and a vision for the greater good. You now understand that what you receive isn't meant to stop with you. It's a flow, a channel through which God will impact others. That's why your trials were so intense, because the calling on your life is extraordinary. As you step into this season, you must remain anchored in the truth that it is God who gives you the ability to produce wealth. The blessings that are unfolding in your life are a testament to His promises, not your efforts alone. He is the author of your story, and He has orchestrated every detail to align with His perfect will. You will see doors open that no man can shut, and you will walk into opportunities that seem beyond your reach. This is not by chance, but by divine design. You were chosen for this. Yet there is a sobering reality that comes with being chosen. The responsibility attached to your calling is immense. The trials you endured weren't just about preparing you for blessings. They were also about teaching you stewardship. God allowed you to experience seasons of lack so that you would learn how to handle abundance. He allowed rejection to strengthen your resilience. He permitted delays to build your patience. Every experience was a lesson in preparation for this moment. The enemy sees what's coming, and he will try to attack your mind and spirit. He will remind you of your few failures, your shortcomings, and your past. But you must remember that your identity is not rooted in your mistakes, but in God's grace. The trials were never about proving your worth to God. They were about revealing His power in your life. Your testimony isn't one of self-achievement, but of divine intervention. The moments you thought you wouldn't survive were the very moments God was carrying you. This season is one of manifestation. The seeds you planted in faith are breaking through the soil, and the harvest is abundant. But don't forget that with the harvest comes the responsibility to sow again. God's blessings are perpetual, designed to flow through you and into the lives of others. You were chosen not just to receive, but to multiply, to be a steward of what He entrusts to you. The wealth you are about to experience is not merely material. It is spiritual, emotional, and relational. God's abundance touches every area of your life. As you walk into this season, humility will be your greatest strength. The same God who lifted you up can sustain you, but He requires your obedience. Stay rooted in His Word, seek His presence daily, and let His Spirit guide your steps. The blessings are not an end, they are a beginning. They are the resources you will need to fulfill the purpose He has placed within you. Your life is about to be a beacon of hope for those around you, a testament to what happens when you trust God through the trials. People will look at you and wonder how you achieved so much, but they won't see the nights you spent on your knees, the tears you cried, or the battles you fought in silence. What they will see is the evidence of God's hand on your life. But remember, this isn't about impressing others, it's about glorifying Him. Let your story be a reflection of His goodness, not your greatness. The wealth you are stepping into is a tool for kingdom work, a means to expand His influence on earth. The trials you endured have given you a unique perspective. You now understand what it means to have nothing and to rely on God for everything. That perspective is a gift. It will keep you grounded as the blessings flow. You have learned to value the small things, to be grateful in every circumstance, and to trust God in the waiting. Those lessons will serve you well in this next season because they remind you of the source of your blessings. God's timing is impeccable. He knew exactly when to release the floodgates of heaven over your life. If He had done it earlier, you might not have been ready. If He had done it later, you might have grown weary. But now, in this moment, you are prepared. Your faith has been tested, your heart has been refined, and your vision has been clarified. You now understand that the blessings aren't about comfort, they're about calling. They're not about status, they're about service. As you walk into this season, keep your eyes on Him. The blessings will come with challenges, but they will also come with grace. The same God who brought you through the trials will sustain you in the triumph. He is your source, your provider, and your guide. Trust Him in every step, and you will see His hand move in ways you never imagined. This is your moment, not because of what you've done, but because of who He is. God's faithfulness knows no limits, and as you step into this season, it is crucial to remember that your story is far from ordinary. Every victory, every breakthrough, and every blessing that is about to come your way has been meticulously prepared by His divine hand. You may not understand why certain doors were closed or why some seasons felt unbearably long, but now you can see how every moment was necessary for where you're heading. The trials you thought would break you have instead refined you, shaping you into a vessel that God can trust with greater things. The wealth, influence, and abundance coming into your life are not random. They are the result of a divine covenant, a promise made by God who cannot lie. But these blessings are not meant to elevate you above others. They are designed to position you as a servant, a steward, and a light in a world that desperately needs hope. God has entrusted you with a unique role, and the resources He is releasing into your life are tools to accomplish His will. He is not only blessing you, but is also making you a blessing to nations. In the same way that Joseph went from the prison to the palace, you are about to see a shift in your circumstances. But remember, Even when Joseph reached the height of his success, his heart remained aligned with God's purpose. He understood that his position of influence was not for self-glorification, but for the saving of many lives. You too are being placed in a position where your decisions, actions, and generosity will ripple into eternity. God is using you as a conduit of His grace, and with that comes great responsibility. You have learned to rely on God when you had little, and now He is teaching you to rely on Him when you have much. This is a lesson many overlook, but it is just as important. Wealth and abundance can be distractions if they are not grounded in the heart of worship. The enemy will try to use these blessings to draw you away from your Creator, to convince you that you no longer need Him. But you must remember that everything you have and everything you are comes from Him. He is the source, and without Him, the blessings lose their meaning. The process you have endured has not only built your character, but has also positioned you to handle what is coming. God never gives us more than we can bear, and that includes blessings. He knows the weight of influence and resources, and He has spent this time preparing you to carry it with grace. You are stepping into a season where favor will surround you, where opportunities will come effortlessly, and where doors will open without you even knocking. But as these blessings pour in, your focus must remain on the one who made it all possible. The world will take notice of what God is doing in your life, and some will question how it happened. They won't understand the hours you spent in prayer, the moments of doubt you overcame, or the faith it took to keep going. They will see the glory, but not the story. Yet this is your opportunity to point them to the author of it all. Let your testimony be a reminder that God is still in the business of miracles, that He is still faithful to those who trust Him, and that He is still the God who turns trials into triumphs. This is not just about financial wealth, it's about the fullness of life that God promises. You will see restoration in relationships, healing in your body, and peace in your mind. The blessings coming your way will touch every area of your life, leaving no stone unturned. But as you experience this overflow, remember that it is not yours to hoard. God is calling you to be a distributor of His blessings, to pour out what He has poured into you, and to be a reflection of His love in a world that is hungry for hope. Your journey is a testament to the power of perseverance and faith. When others gave up, you held on. When circumstances seemed impossible, you believed in the God of possibilities. And now that faith is being rewarded. But this is just the beginning. God's plans for you are far greater than what you can see right now. He is setting you up for generational impact, for a legacy that will outlive you. The wealth and influence coming your way are not just for today, they are seeds for tomorrow, designed to impact lives long after you are gone. As you navigate this new season, remain vigilant. The enemy will try to distract you, to sow seeds of doubt, and to pull you away from your purpose. But you have been equipped with everything you need to stand firm. The same God who brought you through the wilderness will sustain you in the promised land. He will provide wisdom for every decision, peace for every storm, and strength for every challenge. Trust Him, lean on Him, and let Him guide your steps. Your trials were not in vain. They were the groundwork for the testimony you now carry. They were the preparation for the platform God is giving you. Every tear you cried, every prayer you whispered, and every step you took in faith has led you to this moment. And now, as you stand on the brink of this new season, remember that it is all for His glory. Your life is a canvas, and He is the master artist painting a picture of grace, redemption, and victory. God's plans are never accidental, and His timing is never off. You have been prepared for this moment in ways you cannot fully comprehend. Every obstacle, every season of waiting, and every unexpected detour were shaping you for the greatness you are about to step into. The trials you endured were necessary not to punish you, but to refine you. They purified your motives, deepened your faith, and solidified your reliance on God. What seemed like delay was divine alignment, ensuring that you would be ready for the weight of the blessings that are now coming your way. The kingdom operates differently from the world. While the world focuses on self-promotion and striving, God's kingdom emphasizes surrender and trust. The trials you faced taught you to surrender your plans, your timeline, and even your understanding. You learned to trust God not just when things were clear, but when the path was dark and the future seemed uncertain. That trust has now become your greatest asset. It is what will sustain you as you step into this new chapter. You no longer operate out of fear or anxiety because you've seen God's hand move in the midst of impossible circumstances. The blessings that are about to flow into your life are not random. They are intentional, designed to fulfill the purpose has placed within you. Every gift, every opportunity, and every resource has a role in advancing His kingdom. God is strategic in His blessings. He doesn't give for the sake of giving. He gives so that His children can walk in their calling, influence others for His glory, and expand His reach on earth. This is not just about wealth in the physical sense, but about spiritual richness that transforms lives. As you step into this season of abundance, remember the lessons of the wilderness. It was there that God taught you to depend on Him for your daily bread. It was there that you learned the value of faith over fear, obedience over convenience, and worship over worry. Those lessons will anchor you now. The wilderness wasn't just a season of struggle, it was a season of preparation. It prepared you for the weight of influence, the responsibility of leadership, and the discipline required to handle abundance with humility. You may feel overwhelmed by what's ahead, but God has already equipped you for this journey. The trials you endured have given you resilience, clarity, and perspective. You now understand that success is not about what you can achieve, but about what you can steward. God is not looking for people who will hoard His blessings, but for those who will distribute them wisely. You've been chosen because you've shown yourself faithful in the little things. And as the word says, to those who are faithful with little, much will be given. This is not the time to shrink backward a second. Guess what God is doing? It's time to step forward boldly, knowing that He has gone before you. The opportunities that are coming your way will require courage, wisdom, and discernment. They will stretch you in ways you've never been stretched before, but they will also bring fulfillment, purpose, and joy like you've never known. God's plans for you are far greater than you can imagine. He is not only blessing you, but is using you to be a blessing to others. There will be moments when you are tempted to take credit for what God is doing in your life. The world will applaud your success, admire your achievements, and seek to elevate you. But you must remain humble, always pointing back to the one who made it all possible. The blessings are not about you, they are about Him. Your life is a testimony of His faithfulness, His power, and His grace. Let every success you experience be an opportunity to glorify God and to draw others closer to Him. The trials have taught you the value of patience and perseverance. You now understand that God's timing is perfect. Even when it doesn't align with your own, you've seen how He works behind the scenes, orchestrating events in ways that you could never have planned. That understanding will be your strength in this new season. When challenges arise, and they will, you can rest in the knowledge that the same God who brought you this far will carry you forward. He is faithful, and He is for you. As you walk in this season of abundance, stay rooted in His Word. The Bible is your guide, your anchor, and your source of wisdom. It is filled with promises that remind you of who you are and whose you are. Let those promises fuel your faith and keep you grounded. The enemy will try to distract you with the allure of worldly success, but you must stay focused on what truly matters. The trials taught you that God is enough, and that truth will sustain you in the days ahead. This new season is not the end of your journey, it is a beginning. It is the start of a chapter where God's promises are fulfilled, His plans are revealed, and His glory is displayed through your life. But with blessings come responsibilities. You are called to be a light, a voice, and an example. You are called to use what God has given you to uplift others, to share the gospel, and to expand His kingdom. This is not a burden, it is a privilege. You have been chosen for such a time as this, and God's grace will enable you to fulfill your calling. The weight of this moment is significant, and it is no accident that you find yourself here. God has orchestrated every step, every challenge, and every breakthrough to prepare you for this exact time. His plans for you have always been intentional, and now you are walking into the manifestation of promises that have been spoken over your life long before you could imagine. What may have felt like random circumstances or disconnected events were, in truth, part of a divine design. You were being equipped, shaped, and molded to handle what is now unfolding. In this season, you must guard your heart and your mind with even greater diligence. Success and abundance bring their own set of trials. They test your humility, your priorities, and your allegiance to God. The blessings coming your way will elevate you, but they are not meant to isolate you from the one who made them possible. You must keep your eyes fixed on Him, for He is both the giver and sustainer of every good thing in your life. Never allow the gifts to overshadow the giver. God has chosen you not just to prosper, but to represent Him in this world. You are stepping into a season where your life will be a beacon of hope and inspiration to others. People will look at you and wonder how you overcame, how you rose above the trials, and how you found the strength to keep going. Your testimony will be a living sermon, a testament to the power of faith, perseverance, and divine favor. In sharing your story, you will draw others closer to God, not through your words alone, but through the evidence of His work in your life. As you embrace the abundance that is coming, never forget the lessons of the past. Remember the times when you had nothing but God, when your prayers were filled with desperation and your faith was tested in the fire of adversity. Those moments were not wasted. They were building a foundation of trust and dependence on Him. Now, as you stand on the threshold of extraordinary blessings, that foundation will keep you steady. You will not be swayed by the opinions of others or by the fleeting pleasures of this world, because your roots are deep, anchored in the truth of who God is. You must also be intentional about how you steward the resources and opportunities that God is placing in your hands. These blessings are not just for you, they are meant to flow through you to impact others. God is calling you to be a conduit of His love, grace, and provision. The influence and wealth you are receiving are tools to fulfill a higher purpose. They are meant to build His kingdom, to uplift the brokenhearted, and to meet the needs of those who cannot help themselves. This is your chance to partner with God in His work, to be His hands and feet in a world that desperately needs Him. The journey you have been on has also prepared you to recognize the traps that often come with success. You have learned to discern the voices of those who seek to manipulate, flatter, or distract you. Not everyone who celebrates your victories has your best interests at heart. Some will try to attach themselves to your success, not because they are aligned with your purpose, but because they see an opportunity for personal gain. But God has given you wisdom and discernment. He has taught you to listen His voice above all others. Trust Him to guide you in your relationships, your decisions, and your plans. This is also a time to deepen your spiritual disciplines. The very practices that sustained you in the wilderness prayer, worship, fasting, and studying God's Word are the same practices that will sustain you in this new season. Success should never become a substitute for seeking God. The business that often accompanies abundance can easily pull you away from the quiet moments of communion with Him. Guard those moments fiercely, for they are the source of your strength, your peace, and your clarity. It is in those moments that God will reveal His strategies, His wisdom, and His next steps for you. God's timing is perfect, and He never makes a mistake. You may wonder why the blessings didn't come sooner or why the process took so long. But as you reflect on the journey, you will see that every delay was purposeful. God was not withholding blessings from you. He was preparing you for them. He was ensuring that you would be ready to handle the weight of success with integrity and grace. He was aligning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances to bring you into His perfect plan. As you move forward, keep your faith active. The blessings you are experiencing are not the end of your journey. They are a stepping stone to even greater things. God's plans for you are always bigger than what you can see or imagine. He is a God of abundance, and He delights in exceeding our expectations. But His blessings are not just about material wealth, they are about the fullness of life that comes from walking in His purpose. He wants to bless you in every area spiritually, emotionally, relationally, and physically. Trust Him to complete the good work He has begun in you. Your life is a testimony of God's faithfulness, and it is a reminder to others that He is still in the business of miracles. You are proof that God can take what was meant for harm and turn it into something beautiful. You are a living example of His ability to redeem, restore, and elevate. Let your life inspire others to believe, to hope, and to trust in the God who never fails. As you share your story, you will sow seeds of faith in others, seeds that will bear fruit in ways you may never see. The blessings coming your way will require boldness and courage. They will call you to step out of your comfort zone, to take risks, and to trust God in new and deeper ways. But you can move forward with confidence, knowing that He is with you. The same God who carried you through the trials will sustain you in the triumphs. He has not brought you this far to leave you now. His promises are sure, and His plans are perfect. You stand now on the threshold of a season that will redefine everything you've known. The trials, the waiting, and the pain were not wasted. They were the tools God used to prepare you for this moment. You are walking into His divine plan, a plan that not only blesses you, but also allows you to be a blessing to others. The wealth, influence, and opportunities coming your way are not just rewards, they are assignments. They are sacred trusts from God, meant to reflect His glory and expand His kingdom. But remember, it's not about what you are gaining, it's about who you are becoming. Through it all, God has been shaping your heart, strengthening your faith, and teaching you to walk humbly before Him. These lessons are your greatest treasure, because they will sustain you when the applause fades and the challenges come again. Stay rooted in His Word, faithful in prayer, and intentional in your relationship with Him. Let your life be a beacon of God's faithfulness. Let your story testify to His power to redeem, restore, and elevate. You are stepping into a season where God's promises will be fulfilled and His plans will be revealed. Walk boldly, live purposefully, and let every blessing point back to the one who made it all possible. The trials are over. Now step forward in faith, knowing that God has prepared you for such a time as this.